OBSs should be working now.
I wonder if they'll know what you mean by OBSs.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. The quality is back to not looking awful. So that's a good sign. I don't know why I'm
Alright, well, let's see how long this keeps up for.
Alright. There we go. Yeah, looks good. It looks good as a standstill anyway, which is Mega Man breathing, so that's you know how it's gonna be great. Alright, we'll put this back here. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to like uninstall that version of OBS. It just doesn't work. Gives me more problems.
So it's an update conflict thing. Ah, yeah, I got some cats here now.
Yeah. This is gonna be my house. It's gonna have a bunch of cats. It's gonna have an old man in it. It's gonna have a bunch of weird-looking sheep on the wall. It's gonna have a TV that only reports crime.
We've received word that armed robbers have stormed the bank and made off with
Forget
a
about the
large sum of
cactus.
money.
Can't forget about the cactus.
Oh yeah, can't forget about the
Man, her
cactus.
job. What with stuff like this happening all the time?
Oh, today's Draw Mega Man Day?
Oh yeah, right. It is. Today is a Draw Mega Man day, and as the name implies, it's the day Draw Mega Man stuff. So, you know, if you guys are the artist sorts, or you know, even if you're not, and you just want to pay tribute to your favorite Mega Man series, this is the day to do it.
Mm-hmm. May I suggest?
Oh, also,
some
apparently,
moments?
Indeed. I have not seen a whole lot of Mega Man Walnut art today yet. And that might be because a lot of people think just Draw Mega Man Day is, you know, like,
Classic
limited
X.
mainly to Classic. Yeah, and X. You know, it's funny just how often X is associated with Classic these days. But,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. Oh, you're gonna get run over, boy. Yeah, do it. Do it. Ha-ha!
Ah. Oh, hey, look at that. That worked out
Oh,
for
then
me.
he turned a corner.
We weren't doing anything.
Now,
That's
this
how you
is
get
still
this in
slower, but it
style.
works.
Oh, he's gonna get us. We gotta get out of here. We're innocent. We didn't do
Yeah, you know, this is probably my favorite sub-quest in the game. It's so memorable because it's fully voiced, and it has a hilarious plot going forward, which isn't entirely evident even after you beat the quest. You know, you kind of have to go talk to other people to find out the real story as to what happened with the bank robbery here. You know, like even after you give the cash, if you do in fact choose to give the cash back, it's not apparently evident that what happened here. Okay, well, giving it back, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, you said we have to.
Yeah, I know, we do have to, but I think preferably we all kind of wish to keep it.
Oh yeah. We just want to be a bunch of bad guys.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to throw out something quickly here. The bad Mega Man Walnut 4-inch Nell figure, it comes with that same briefcase you see here, and I must say it's a very faithful reproduction of it. It looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not as pixely as in the game, but it still came out pretty well.
That's right. I want to feel ancient when I touch that. Alright, well...
Really give back the case?
We gave it back.
Yes, we did. You know, there is a satisfying element, I think, that comes with giving it back, too, because, you know, the Striped Burger it's not just a thing that just stands there and you can't interact with it in any capacity. It's something that you can actually go into and, you know, get a lot of satisfaction out of with, you know, communicating with the serve bots and everything. There is, I mean, you know, whether you are, you know, a baddie or not, it's always satisfying, I think, to interact with the serve bots.
Yeah. Where does that get built at?
It gets built in the first area of the city. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
For that?
No, you don't. It's right there after the quest. I would encourage you to, though, to talk to the NPCs in the bank after the quest, though, because that's where you kind of get the full story of what happened with that bank robbery mission, you know? Like, after you beat it, and if you didn't talk to anyone after you beat that quest, you might be inclined to think, oh man, the Servbots, they literally just stole that money to build their Stripe Burger place. But by communicating with the NPCs in the bank, you'll find out the real story. It's not that they actually stole it. It's actually they borrowed the money, you know, in a very legitimate fashion from the bank. But the police, being the being the idiots that they were, they thought that the Servbots actually stole it. So
yeah, they're just racially profiling some Lego kids. That's what's wrong with people these days, huh? Come on.
You know, it's just like that, though. That is literally no exaggeration of the case.
I don't trust those Lego kids. Yeah, it's obviously they weren't used to handling so much money. They were so nervous carrying that trunk. It was really cute. The end.
Gotta appreciate this quest, not just for the hilarity of it all, but, you know, also for the backstory. Again, you know, you would not know about the hilarious, you know, problems of this quest if you didn't talk to those bank people. So, you know, it's just one of those things in Legends, one of those many things in Legends that you kind of have to do a bit of searching to find out the true story about it.
I agree.
Speaking of impossible Servbots, there is, I want to say all the Servbots in the Stripe Burger you can interact with, but there's one Servbot way in the back of the desk who it's like, I'm not sure if it's impossible, but it's very difficult to talk to him because that desk, it's so thick to the point where you can't, you know, talk with the Servbots behind it, or some of them anyway. Yeah, that's another frustrating element of interacting with the Servbots in that area. Some of them you can talk to, though, if you're really trying, like, persistently to talk with them. Fluka saying, I'm excited I'll be able to stream my runs off of PS1 soon. Found a cable that'll let me stream off my CTR, or CRT.
Nice. I think we did that for our Tron Bond playthrough. I can't remember if we did that or an emulator, but I know I have that game. That's my pride and joy, that game.
And that was before we...
That was before it was on PSN.
That was before it was on PSN, so we kind of had to jump through a few loops to do that.
I don't know.
But yeah, let's spend a few moments here looking at the Stripe Burger, just because we're in the area.
I'm trying to remember where it is. Is it here, in this area?
It's on the corner. It's at one of the corners of the town. Yeah, right. You're going in the right direction. Keep going. It should be right in this area, I think.
Oh, that looks like.
There it is. Yeah. Door is on the opposite in the opposite direction. Yep. There we go.
Stripe Burger.
And you know, unfortunately, we cannot get all the dialogue offered by the Stripe Burger because we beat Bruno.
Oh, I didn't know there was more.
That's live. Yeah, there are 2 sets of dialogue from the Stripe Burger, and you can get one before you defeat Bruno. But you know, we can't access the second one here. Hey, welcome, Blue Metal. Yeah, there they are. You know, it's hard to communicate with some of these guys. You can do it behind the door there, but I want to say that's the only area where it's actually easy to interact with the Servbots here. And sometimes I think the guys immediately behind, or directly behind the cash registers, I think there are times in which they'll, like, wander around, come more in the area of that door, whereas, like, that's, like, the only place you can interact with them, but... You know, unless they do get behind that door or somewhere around that door, it's very difficult to interact with these guys. Again, just look at the distance between yourself and the serve boss behind, behind that desk. It's crazy.
There's got to be some way I can kick myself in there.
Lure one of those Reaver bots over here and see if you can kick behind it.
Yeah, I'll get one. Like, come on.
Can you skate, maybe? Skating's another way to get around it. Oh, wow, you can skate. Go figure. Oh, of course she's in the way, though.
If only I could kick her. Oh, wow. She's not a dog, so...
I love that, too. You can stand behind, or stand on top of the counters over there.
So, let's see. Got some burger combos. Nice, nice.
Let's see if you can read any of the other stuff on the menu here.
Let's see. Well... Looks like we got a striped burger, the first one. A cheeseburger, the second one. A hamburger, and the third one.
Teriyaki burger? Is that what that says?
That one looks like teriyaki, yeah. That one's called the Blood Hill Burger. Something. Oh, they're like all the same. These are like the same price.
For what it's worth, I think we did get... I mean, I think we did get pretty far.
Yeah.
If 3 listings is what you count as pretty far, anyway.
This one says L is real. I don't know what that one's about. Yeah, I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, 2 number 45s. I forget the rest.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because it seems like a lot of the stuff on that menu is supposed to be, it's supposed to be real words, but it's just so pixelated that it's hard to make them out. Chicken club sandwich, extra bacon, LG root beer. Okay, yeah, that's probably what counts for everything else on the list.
Sounds good to me.
Capcom eventually gives us an HD collection, they'll make that readable.
Yeah,
oh man, I hope that comes soon enough. You guys heard about, I mean, I don't think you could have helped but heard about it, Shenmue 1 and 2. That was announced yesterday. Well, that too. I mean, I think we all saw that coming from not just 1 mile, but 10 miles away.
Yeah.
Shenmue 1 and 2, though, that was kind of a bit more unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, man, I mean, I guess... Well, okay, on the one hand, it is, and on the other hand, it isn't. Like, we do have Shenmue 3 coming, and I guess this is apparently... It's a pretty good opportunity when you think about it for Sega to kind of plug those other games, or give them a means by which to gain more traction in this modern age. So, I mean, in that respect, in the respect of giving them more traction in preparation for Shenmue 3, I think it does make sense, but, I mean, still, that... or like about centuries ago. So I mean, just for the fact that they've been so long on the wait list, it's I think in that respect it's pretty unexpected. But yeah, you know, I see that thing. I heard about that yesterday on Twitter, and man, as you might expect, first thing that came to my mind is, oh man, Legends fans are so getting left in the dust.
I know, not only are they making Shenmue 3, but now 1 and 2 are getting an HD port. What's up with that?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, and you know, I would be surprised if we get Half-Life 3 by tomorrow at this rate.
Seems like it.
I mean, it just feels like Legends is getting so left in the dust at this point. It's really hard to see. It really is hard to perceive just the chances of getting anything Legends in this day and age where... Man, we're still coming off, I think. We're still recovering from that cancellation in many respects. And, I mean, here's the thing. The one thing that Half-Life 3, Shenmue 3, all of these games that have been waiting on remasters and revivals for decades, the one thing they have not had for them, and the one thing they have in their favor, is the fact that they have not had any cancellations. You know?
Yeah.
Had a sequel that was in the works at one point and then canceled to the eyes of the public. That's a pretty big thing, I think. Legends 3 was a game that was canceled in the eyes of the public. It was put out there, and Capcom knows that eventually at one point. And you know, so it's just Legends 3 or Legends Remastered does happen at some point. I think it's going to be, and we've talked about this before, it's going to be a big process of Capcom, you know, trying to humble themselves, you know, and coming out and apologizing in a sense. You know, kind of having to admit their mistakes, I guess. Because, like, I don't think they'd be able to put out another sequel to Legends without having to admit that they made a mistake at some point. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I think that is not in Legends' favor. You know, you have this big corporate company called Capcom Japan that to face this process of admitting its mistakes before it puts out something like a Legends 3 or Legends Remastered.
When
That's what we
Evil 3 happens. No, not even Resident Evil now. Now it's about Monster Hunter. I don't know if you guys know, but Monster Hunter is literally the best-selling Capcom game of all time. It was so good that driver couldn't believe it and he ran me over.
We'll see what happens on the Legends front. Obviously, that's what groups like us are here for.
Yeah.
If we're not here to prove our numbers, we're at least here to prove our passion, you know?
Where... I'm supposed to be looking for a worker here, so I can get the saw. Unless I'm in the wrong area.
You looking for?
The worker, so I can get a saw.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's in the first area. Or City Hall. He's in
downtown. No, that's the pig. Is it the same guy? Let's see.
Be right back.
What will happen to Get Me Off the Moon? We'll say, good job, everybody, and we'll all crumble into dust and, you know, be spread into the air. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see? I knew it was downtown. Maybe I had to talk to him first. Skybane has a better answer for what happens, so I'll wait till he gets back. Like it never happened. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I guess. I mean, I don't see why we still wouldn't hold like events or anything. You know, we've been part of it for so long. You know, like I don't see why not. Where are you, Mr. Worker Man? Get me off the moon will become get me off Earth. It'll be get me off the Bond's wild ride.
Did you answer this question as to what would happen with Get Me Off the Moon if Legends 3 came out?
Yeah, I said that we would say good job everybody and we would all crumble in the dust and float away or whatever. And then I said you have a better answer for what happened, so you go ahead and answer that one.
Yeah, this is actually a question we've gotten quite frequently in our career. Surprisingly enough, I find it quite shocking that there are people out there, no offense to anyone, of course, but about the after scenario, should we do get Legends 3. Like, myself, personally, running this page for, like, you know, I've always been focused on just that moment itself. You know, getting Legends 3 out eventually, and I haven't really given a whole lot of thought to after it comes out. You know, to me, Legends 3 would be a dream come true. So much so that I don't think I'd even be able to process the reality of the situation if it did come out. You know, and in that respect, I don't know. I think it would be kind of difficult for us, or for me anyway, to figure out just what we would do if that actually happened. But to reiterate a response I've commonly given over the past 6 years when we've received this question, I honestly think we'd still be supporting it. You know, if Legends 3 came out, well, first of all, there's the obvious case that we'll have to keep supporting it until it actually gets released.
Yeah.
You know, no more of this announcing it and canceling it a day after crap. So, you know, that would be a big thing. You know, if it got announced, we would have to be big on, you know, supporting it until it actually was released. Because that was a big problem, I think, with, you know, the 2010 Legends 3 project. You know, they announced it, a whole lot of traction for it. Or maybe they didn't. I don't know. We're still extremely unclear as to what happened with that. And the ambiguity of that situation kind of makes it difficult to judge just what the reasons were for why the project was canceled. But I personally think it's because you know, Capcom didn't think that Legends 3 would, in the words of another fan, I think it was Dash actually, didn't think Legends 3 would fill 10 swimming pools full of you know, priceless gems.
Yeah.
Man, Dash put that in such better words, but I think that's really what happened. They didn't think Legends 3 would be, you know, something that would be extremely big, you know, and it would sell them millions upon millions. So that's what I think personally. But you know, just going back to what I was mentioning about the dev room and that stuff, you know, they saw 10,000 members in the dev room, and that impressive to them at the time. So, you know, and then afterwards, when the project started quieting down, leading up to the cancellation, there were, like, Legend Station and the Mega Man Network and Proto Dude got together to put together this big, to, you know, kind of encourage the developers and show them that Legends 3 was still highly anticipated by us, the fans. Like, happened, those efforts were started crazily just a day before the project was canceled. But I think, you know, had those efforts begun, like, in earnest effort, you know, a long time before, you know, I think, you know, we might have been able to do something to change things, perhaps. I don't know. But just getting to the root of the question, you know, I think that would be the big focus if Legends 3 was announced. You know, we have to be supporting that. Like, right out the gate, we have to make sure we have all these campaigns. You know, maybe snail mail campaigns, letter campaigns, all that fun stuff. You know, to make sure that the developers are aware from day one that we like this stuff. You know. But after that, you know, if providing we actually got the game, I mean, I think we'd still be supporting Legends, you know, just, we'd be dedicating the page toward, just supporting Legends itself, the Legends series and everything that has to do with it. Maybe, I don't know, if we're not, I don't know, maybe it'll become focused on Legends 4, who knows? The matter is, you know, we're fans through and through. You know, we are fans from beginning to end. For our whole lives, really, I think. The crap out of the series. So in that respect, I think that you know, even if Legends 3 did get announced, we couldn't do anything but support the series. We have this great Facebook page, or, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, whatever you want to call it. We have these great means with, you know, to support the series. So why not make use of that means? This, you know, this great outlet for supporting the series. Why not make use of that, since we have it already, to support Legends even after Legends 3 comes out? Like, if we abandoned the page after Legends 3 came out, it just seems to me like it would be a huge waste of a great outlet, you know, a fantastic outlet to show our support for this great series. My spiel.
Yeah, also, Fluga saying it's hard to advertise Mega Man to a more adult audience. There's only one thing you have to say to advertise Mega Man towards adult audiences. Alright, are you ready for it? Are you ready for the magic words that you have to say?
It's hard to know when you're exactly ready for anything.
Just say, dude, Mega Man's just like Dark Souls. That's all you gotta do. And Mega Man is difficult. So I mean, like, yeah, but I mean it's not Dark Souls, but you know, it's hard, so that means Dark Souls.
Yeah, you know, here's my impression. Here's my thoughts on the whole adult audience thing. As far as I see things, and I've seen things this way for a long time, for kids. Adults these days, I think, in many respects, are kids. You know, like with the whole geek movement, you know, and the nostalgia, especially the nostalgia phase, that's kind of permeated the whole atmosphere of our gaming scene, and not just gaming, but like movies as well. We are so tied up in the nostalgia factor of, you know, these shows, these Saturday morning cartoons we grew up with, the games we grew up with. It's all kind of, you know, in the end of the day, kind of influenced the main. So, I mean, I guess there will always be those people who, you know, are more inclined to derive enjoyment from, like, a more dark game, I guess, like a darker, like you said, Josh, a Dark Souls kind of game.
Yeah.
But the way I see things, you know, there will always be people buying Pokemon. There will always be people, you know, I mean, God, just look at the support that games like the Crash Bandicoot remaster and the Spyro remaster have received.
Yeah.
We're talking about games that are 20 years old, 20 freaking years old. You know, so just based on that and the fact that, you know, there are those kinds of cartoony games still being made and supportive. You know, you got Cuphead, you got Hat in Time. You know, you have all these great games that kind of, in many respects, like, you know, are kind of welching off nostalgia, and in another respect, kind of building off modern gaming standards. They're kind of a combination, I think, in the end. But you got those games as well, which are all highly supported. And, yeah, so, I mean, I just think all that kind of contributes to the notion that these kiddie games, or apparently kiddie games, you know, people can always find appeal in them, you know?
Yeah. And then they could also just say it's Dark Souls if that doesn't work.
That's how I feel about it, personally. There's always that. I think even in the most edgy adult, there's that kid, you know? There's that little kid hiding inside them that's just waiting to come out at the right opportunity.
Let's see. Well, what do we got? So we're missing one. Oh, is that it? Just one? Yeah, just missing one.
Oh man, nice.
Shining laser, so that's good. So yeah, sweet. How much does it cost to upgrade the shield iron? Let's see.
At Glasky saying here, but with those two games, they have a wider scope of appeal. The Mega Man Legends games weren't as well received as other Mega Man spin-offs and didn't sell as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for... Well, I mean, yeah, numbers. I've never really thought the numbers, as far as numbers were concerned, Legends was that impressive, but, I mean, just look at the pure passion that the series has accumulated over all these years. I seriously think that nowadays... It's a bigger deal than it used to be, and what those games lacked at the time that they were released, they've made up for now. You know, I mean, all you have to do is look at the huge backlash that the cancellation of Legends 3 received. That backlash was on catastrophic proportions. So, you know, I think just based on that backlash alone, there's sheer evidence that the game, you know, it would have sold well if that sequel had been, you know, put out. And I really just think that backlash is pure evidence of the fact that these games, they're more now than what they used to be, you know. And I think nostalgia certainly has contributed that to in many respects. But I mean, even just like ignoring gameplay, but look at the atmosphere of this game, look at the story, the characters, the personalities. It all just comes together to form this great vibe, I think. And I mean, it's true that the gameplay, you know, You know, I liked it playing it the first time. Maybe it's not according to, you know, up to modern day standards, but as far as I was concerned,
What do you think I
don't know, I always got the impression that more people played Legends for the story and the characters than a lot like games. You guys might remember the Tail Concerto series, maybe Solette Robo and Tail Concerto. That we did not, you know, Solette Robo had great gameplay, but Tail Concerto not so much. But a lot of people still loved that game, even though it didn't have great gameplay. They still loved it for the characters and the general atmosphere of that series. So, you know, that's something that I think also has to be taken into consideration. You know, just what the series has as a whole. You know, not just looking at one factor of it, but like taking it all and, you know, seeing what the big picture is at the end of the day.
Here we go.
Rounds put up a really neat video a couple days ago where he showed how you can get a score of like 36 in this game. And man, it was a crazy video, but he ended up scoring, I think, like 12,000 Zenny through that technique.
I believe it.
See how you do here, though.
Oops.
Glassky saying, the backlash was big, sure, but I've met more people who didn't know what Legends was or hated it with a passion as much as we have for the game. I mean, it's funny that you say that. I mean, I only know, like, one guy, and that was, what, the Angry Video Game Nerd?
Yeah.
I only know him, and granted, I think, you know, he's in a position where he can easily influence other people to hate it as well. But, like, I've actually met a whole lot of people who genuinely like hate the game with a passion. I mean, I'm sure there are some out there. I mean, granted, it's a huge set apart from the other Mega Man games, and I think that alone would kind of, you know, subject it to a lot of scorn in some fields. But I mean, yeah, I've personally seen way more around this game than hatred. Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Mega Man Legends games are certainly more niche compared to Crash or Spyro, but, I mean, Crash and Spyro are, man, you're comparing it to pretty huge successes there. I mean, Mega Man Legends, the positivity and support revolving around it, as not so much a snap, that happened. I was saying, oh yeah, you know, I mean, I really don't think Legends should be compared to Crash or Spyro, purely because it's so different. I mean, it's true that those games probably did sell better. I think Legends has some things going for it that Crash and Spyro don't, personally.
Yeah. Oh, oops. Oof, okay. I'll just stop.
4,000 is also a good amount, needless to say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's decent for your needs, I guess, but, man, again, going back to that video that Shitty Rounds put together, that was crazy stuff. He earned like 12,000 Zenny, with a score of like 36 hits.
He's just crazy.
For the record, for those of you who don't know, Shitty Rounds is actually a fan that's putting together a ROM hack of Legends. And Major props to him for that.
Ah, come on.
Ah.
I even moved to get that one too. I hope you guys like this. This is going to be the stream for the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, maybe Shady Rounds will come on at some point and give you some tips.
I'll just hand over the save file and he can go all nuts. Even though it's technically his save file.
Are you still contemplating the possibility of going off screen to do some of this grinding?
Yeah, I probably should, I think, because it's just going to take so long. Let's see.
I don't know what we're going to do when we get to Legends 2.
Oh, God.
I mean, okay, granted, you always have the golden bird.
Mm.
Oh, man. You're going to have to design a bot in order to throw that thing at the appropriate amount of times.
I guess so.
The bird is genuinely always easy to take out, regardless of what... Oh, do you want to take care of this guy, or this girl?
What?
Right here?
What do you mean?
You have to tell her... You have to compliment her art in order for her to get to the museum.
I did just compliment it.
Then...
She's just humming right now.
Ah.
Let's see. Oh no, what am I doing?
Well, see, Glasky, I agree with you on that latter point. I think the latter point is indeed going to be the biggest thing, Legends to get, getting Legends 3 to, I don't know, getting Capcom to make Legends 3. I don't agree on the former point, though. I think Legends certainly has built-in appeal. It might, again, I don't think it was as popular back in the day, but nowadays it's kind of become a cult classic, to the point where, I think a lot of people know about it and have played it now, especially, coming off of PSN. That's another thing you have to consider as well. When the Legends games got on PSN, they were #1 sellers. In the first month of those games' release on PSN, and even in subsequent months too. I think Legends 1 was on the #1 best-selling PS Classic list for about 3 months, and that pattern continued, for Legends 2 and Misadventures of Tron Bonne too. Oh, especially Tron Bonne. That game was a phenomenal hit on PSN. So, consider that as well. The support that those games garnered on PSN when they were released on that
market, I guess.
There's a word. There's another word for that.
What, store?
Whatever you want to call it. But I mean, that factor of it too, I think, is a big message that there is an appeal for these games even in this day and age. The likes of Earthbound can become mainstream. Why not Legends? Well, I think the Earthbound, movement is a lot bigger than ours. And that game's a lot older too, and I think the older a game is, the more likely it's going to be to generate nostalgia as the years go on.
It's not much
especially with the
older.
SNES. How much older is it, just out of curiosity?
Earthbound came out in like 1995, right? Or maybe 1990. I know it came out near the end of the SNES's life.
Okay, and Legends 1 followed 2 years later.
Let's see. In America, came out June 5th, 1995. It was like really late in the SNES's lifespan when it was meant to be more towards like the launch title. The
Okay,
game, like,
gotcha.
it was just stuck in development hell for a long time. I think this game has what a lot of people want. Like these days, people just want to like characters. That's why like superhero movies are so big, because they like the characters.
Yeah, the characters and the open world aspect, I think, is also a big thing. Man, again, open world games have never been as big as they are now. With games like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild, and man, you can go on and on. You consistently see games in this day and age that are trying to replicate that formula.
Yeah.
And he respects that formula, that open world system. It began with Mega Man Legends, so I think is what will also give this game some major appeal in our day and age.
Yeah. Like, if you just remaster this game, I can see it easily, like, just sneaking in there with the rest of them. It's a good fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's the thing. See, Felix, you're pretty much saying exactly what I'm thinking here. If you expect astronomical levels of success, you're setting yourself up for a big failure.
Yeah.
With any project that you release, you always got to keep your expectations in check. And I think even with a game like Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy or Spyro Reignited, you got to have a point. There's got to be a point where you got to say, okay,
oops,
much. So I think even the Activision, they're setting their expectations, appropriately with those kinds of games. And it's the same with Mega Man Legends. I feel like in order to be a well-balanced, or the proper word I'm looking for, in order to be a reasonable company, you got to have those games where not so much that you're willing to take a risk, but you're willing to be okay with the fact that this game might not rack up as much as a AAA hit, I mean, you kind of have to be in that mindset, don't you think, in order to make anything new, at all. I'm thinking of, think of all the games that Capcom has, like, introduced over the years, the new ones, like, EX Troopers, or, I don't know, you have companies that are constantly making new games, and they're always going to be taking a risk when they make a new project that is not really welching off the success of another franchise, So, what I basically want to say here is that if companies can make new games, not just sequels which are welching off the success of other games in that series, but actually new games, if they can make new games, they can make a sequel, or a remastered for Mega Man Legends. That's what I think, anyway, because it seems to me that any risk that's involved with making Legends 3 or a remastered Legends is the same risk that would be associated with making a new game series. I
don't have the lipstick. Oops, I didn't mean to hit quit on there. I don't even remember where to get the lipstick from, to be honest. And is the stream buffering a lot for you guys? Because it kind of looks like it is. I don't know what's going on with OBS right now. Oops. No, it hasn't buffered? Okay. Oh, the closed store lady. Okay. Well, if it's not buffering for you guys, then it's... Thought I was out of time. Oh my god. Alright, let's go to the clothes store lady then. Because on my end, it looks like it's buffering for you guys, but if it's fine, then it's fine, I guess. Buffered
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Testing.
Yeah. For almost 30 seconds behind. Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna restart it one more time then. Give me just a moment. Just changing quality. Okay, give me a second then, because it's kind of bugging me right now. Hold on. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back.